welcome back if this is your more than your first time, and welcome for the first time if this is your first time. My name is Licia Sky, and today we're going to spend a mindful moment doing self-connection, which will be self-contact using our hands and finding ways to feel connected to our sense of touch. But first, I'd like you to just notice what it's like to be here in the room that you're in, to notice what's around you, what you're sitting on. Just take a moment to notice what's happening in your body. What have you been holding still that you'd like to move, or what has been moving that you'd like to settle down? So I invite you to squirm a little, look around a little. These walls that we've been in for weeks, there may be things that we've gotten so used to seeing that we overlook them. So just take a moment to look around. And as you look around, I invite you to notice what it feels like in your body to move and twist your head, your neck, your spine, your shoulders. I invite you to notice the sounds around you, inside the space that you're in, outside the space you're in. I invite you to notice the sounds inside your own body. That might be the sound of your breath, might be the sound of your joints creaking. If there's anything that you'd like to stretch just a tiny bit, allow it to stretch. And I'm going to stretch a little bit myself, and you're welcome to move around as I'm moving around, or you're welcome to just play as your body would like to play. And as you move a little bit, I'm going to invite you to notice what are the sensations of your clothing against your arms, your torso, your back. Can you feel the fabric that covers you? Is it a soft sweater? Is it a t-shirt? Is it PJs? Are you dressed up to be home? What does it feel like? What's the texture of what you have on? And from this place, I'm going to invite you to move with bigger movements if you haven't. I'm staying in my chair so you can see me, but I'm going to make bigger movements with my arms. And as you make these big movements with your arms, if you have long sleeves on, I invite you to push your sleeves up so that your forearms are a little more exposed. Now I invite you to notice the sensation of air moving across your hands, moving through your fingers. I invite you to notice what in your fingers and hands and wrists want to move. And I invite you to do this little game I'm going to call air tennis. You're just going to bat this little piece of air back and forth between your hands. And I'm going to invite you to notice, what do you feel between your hands? Can you actually feel this little puff of air as it moves back and forth? It might be imagination, it might be sensation, but what do you feel? You might even feel it moving across your nose and cheeks a little bit. And then slow it down. And I invite you to notice even more carefully, what do you feel or sense or imagine between your hands? And let your hands come a little bit closer together. a little bit closer together. And I invite you to have your elbows kind of resting against your ribs and your torso. And come to a place of relative stillness with your hands maybe 4 inches apart, maybe 5 inches apart. Just hang out here and see if you can feel the temperature of one hand, close proximity to the other hand. What do you sense between your hands? What do you imagine? And then I invite you to use this metaphor that I like to use when I do this, and that's that the energy of our heart extends through our arms, through the palms of our hands. And so the charge of our heart comes through the palms of our hands. And you can play and imagine that there's a little magnet in each hand that has the same charge. And if you just pulse it a little bit, you might actually feel something that's spongy or magnetic. If you think too much about it, you might not feel it. But if you just play, you might be able to hang out and let this energy build between your hands. So this sensation right here, whether you can actually feel it or imagine it, is a first sensation of contact that I invite you to really let yourself have. This proximity of energy between your hands. I spent years doing body work, and so this sensation seems to always be with me, or I can turn it on just by saying, okay, let's have it, and it's right there. So I offer this spongy feeling to you, this magnetic feeling to you, with the intention of it being the energy of your heart. So as your hands are about 3 or 4 inches apart from each other, I'm going to invite you to now allow your hands to hover over your heart and your belly about the same distance as they are from each other when you're doing that magnetic thing. And I'm just coming up a little bit so you can see hand over heart and hand over belly. Just let it hover and just begin to notice what sensations you feel in your hands as your hands hover over your heart and your belly. It may be a little tingly, it may be a little heat, it may be frustrating and you say, I feel nothing, but just pay attention to whatever comes up as you do this. It's just a moment to explore. What do you feel in the palms of your hands? And perhaps what do you feel in your chest and your belly as your hands hover in this way? What happens to your attention as you notice your body? What happens to your breath? What happens to your sense of the room? What happens to the sounds in the room you're in? And with the next few breaths, I invite you to very, very slowly allow your hands to approach your body. And first you might feel the clothing that you're wearing, the fabric of your shirt. And then you might sink in and actually make contact with your belly and your chest. And I invite you to notice, what do you feel in the palm of your hand? What do you feel in your chest, in your heart, in your belly? What does this contact feel like to you now? Do you feel it more in your hands? Do you feel it more in your chest and your belly? Do you feel it more in your chest? Do you feel it more in your belly? I invite you to notice your breathing. I invite you to sense or notice or imagine a heartbeat. So you have a rhythm of your heart beating and a rhythm of your breath. And I invite you to notice, what's the quality of touch that your hands are giving you? Is it light and gentle? Is there something strange that you'd like to have relax? How much pressure is there? And you can experiment with how much pressure you give yourself. You might be able to notice more of a heartbeat if you lighten up your pressure a little bit on your chest. I invite you to notice what this feels like to you right now. And I invite you to notice the person that's holding you, the thoughts of the person that's holding you. I invite you to hold an intention of kindness toward the person you're holding. And notice what the intention of kindness does to how you breathe. There's no right or wrong way to do this. This is just an exploration. But how much kindness can you send to the person that you're holding right now? And does your quality of touch change as you send an intention of kindness? Now I invite you to notice what you are able to receive from the person who's holding you. What you're able to receive of the intention of kindness that this person is sending you. And with the next breath in and out, I invite you to slowly allow your hands to float away from your body. And you may notice the imprints of this contact in your hands, in your chest, in your belly. Notice what remains as you let your hands be released. So there are many ways to do self-holding. I would like to invite you for the rest of this session to explore different positions of holding, different ways of giving yourself kindness and tenderness and gentleness. Some of these are traditional restorative poses, and some of them are just things that I've discovered in sessions with people one-on-one. I come from a bodywork background, and while there are many systems and methods, it's a very improvisational way of working with people. So I'm always improvising a little bit with you and sharing now some of the things that I've discovered from that kind of improvising. So the first thing I invite you to notice is the power of your hands. And I'm going to give you some gestures of kindness that we might have had opportunity to give to other people. And there are gestures of kindness that we may be longing for ourselves in some way. So universally, hand on a heart is always a nice place to start. And I find that hand on a heart sends a circle of energy from your heart through your arm, back to your hand, into your heart again. So it's a very self-nurturing thing to do. And the next gesture is just a hand on the cheek. So I invite you to notice what this contact feels like. Yeah, it's fine to close your eyes. Your hands may be very warm from the last exercise we did. Notice what this kindness does. Notice what you'd like this contact of this hand on your cheek to say. It may say, I really care about you. It may say, it's fine to take a moment to rest. It may say, I'm here with you right now. It may say, I know this has been a challenging time. And just take in this kindness. You may even want to try leaning your head a little bit more into your hand and feeling that support. You may need to have your arm resting on your torso a little more in order to give yourself that support. But just what's that like? To just have this moment of holding. What happens to your heartbeat? What happens to your breath? What happens to the sounds in the room? And with the next breath in, you can let that go. Maybe place your other hand on your heart. And notice the imprint of the contact that you made with your cheek. It may feel cool, it may feel tingly now. You might feel something there. What does it feel like to have your hand on your hand? With your hand on your hand, I offer you the phrase, I'm with you. I'm supporting you. And feel how you can hold this intention for yourself. Or imagine how you can hold this intention for yourself. Notice what feels safe. Notice what feels challenging. With the next breath in, I'm going to invite you to release again. So another hold, the base of our skull and the top of our neck. The base of our skull and the top of our neck is a nice place for support. So I'm going to invite you to just try this hold right here. Just see what that's like. I invite you to notice if it's possible for you to lean back into that just a little bit, not too much. It's not like you need to engage your torso and abdominal muscles, but just what's it like to just lean back a little bit. Take a load off your shoulders. And the next part I'm going to invite you to do is just place your palm on your forehead. And this is a really nice one to just close your eyes for a moment. To soothe your worried brow, to calm your mind, to land with comfort and support. And a little lift. So there's one more thing I'm going to run over just a tiny bit. I hope that's okay. I'd like to show you how to massage your ears because it's a very relaxing thing to do. So we have a part behind our ears that doesn't have a lot of hair on it. I don't know if you can see that clearly, but this space right where your ear emerges from your head is a very nice place to just run your finger gently between the space between your skull and the back of your ear. You can try it on the other side, just between your skull and the back of your ear. We hold a lot of tension back there that we're not aware of. It's connected to the muscles in our neck and our jaw. Very gentle, very relaxing to just rub the smooth part of your finger against the smooth part of your skull behind your ear. And then very gently take your ear and just give it a gentle little tug. Gentle, gentle pull. So you're stretching everything out just a little bit. And then we can just end with our hands on our heart and belly again. Thank you so much for being here today. We have time for comments from participants for the next 5 minutes. And I'd also like to invite you all to come back. I'll be part of this year's 31st Annual International Trauma Conference that's happening online. You can find that information at traumaresearchfoundation.org. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. I'll be here next week. Thank you.